Today's video, we're going to talk about enhanced conversion tracking on Google. Do you really need this? Nobody's talking about whether they need it or not need it. They just talk about what it kind of does, how to do it. The most important information you need is whether you actually need it or not, because frankly, you have to spend money setting it up. Why do that? If it's only going to give you marginal benefit. I've made other videos about enhanced conversion tracking, giving you 5-10% more conversions once you implement it on your site. But that is only useful to you if you have a certain type of business, namely e-commerce businesses, of which I'm going to explain exactly why that is in today's video, as well as why it actually gets you more conversions and why that actually helps you make more money. If you stay to the end of the video, I will tell you about how much more money this can make you if you're in the right situation where it will help you, and why it will specifically give you that kind of a bump, productivity, profitability of your ad campaigns that you're running right now for your business. I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is more profitability from their ads upfront before management fees. We're the only agency on the planet who offers a guaranteed service like this, or any guarantee at all for that matter, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing with you here on today's video. So with that said, I will go into the details of what enhanced conversion tracking is, specifically how it gets you more conversion data. More conversion data, if you haven't watched my channel before, always means more profitability from your ads, because the ads that you run on Google Ads is all predicated on a machine learning algorithm. Google wants to show ads that help their users more. This helps them understand who benefits more from your ads and where to scale up your ads and where to not do so much advertising and spend as much of your advertising budget at. So with that said, enhanced conversions are there to make up for the flaws in cookie-based tracking. For the last 20 years, I've been doing Google Ads. I started in 2005 running Google Ads for an auto parts business. And with that, things have changed a lot or tremendously over that time. That said, way back in the day, the way that conversion tracking always worked, even way back then and still to this day, was predicated on cookies. Cookies are a small piece of web code that the user will download on their computer and is there, and that the website checks for, so that when somebody goes to your website and comes back a month later, as long as they're on the same device, that website can tell that user is the same user that came to that website before. That's the simple explanation of what cookies are. Cookies, though, are the same way that they always were, and cookie-based tracking is the same way it always was. However, cookies are blocked in a lot more occasions now. Certain web browsers don't allow cookies. Brave browser is one that doesn't allow cookies. Well, and you may say, well, who uses that? Well, it's still 1 or 2% of the market. There's other reasons why cookie-based tracking doesn't work. On iOS-based devices, or should I say as much, there's a lot of situations which you can Google after this, that cookie-based tracking doesn't work because cookies do not work. When cookie-based tracking doesn't work, you're going to lose conversion data. Enhanced conversion tracking exists to make up for when the holes in the conversion data you get because of lack of ability to cookie your user itself can bridge the gap on conversions you wouldn't necessarily have otherwise because of cookies not working on the user that you're trying to sell to's device or with the browser that they're using. Enhanced conversion tracking, what it does in short here, is if somebody gets to your website from your ad campaign that you're running today, and then let's say they wait 30 days in order to convert into a sale. Then when they buy, if that purchase occurred on another device and the user is not logged into their Google Ads account, indicating Google would know who that user is. Enhanced conversion tracking can tie that data with that initial user's visit to the site to the purchase that they were making there. Why? Because it's predicated on email addresses and phone numbers of the user. Google knows the phone number and email address of their users, okay? If they're a signed-in user, which about 50% of users of Google are Google accounts. So when that user comes through and buys, and you tell Google about the email address of the user that bought, or the phone number of the user that bought, Google says, aha, I know which user you're talking about, and so they can ultimately show a conversion in your ad account down to the keyword level, ad level, all that, because you provided them the email address / phone number back to Google about who bought. Because they were on a different device, cookie tracking wouldn't work, okay? Ultimately, it could be on the same device itself, users not logged in. They're using Brave browser where cookies aren't able to be dropped on the user's device, and you're also going to pick up a conversion that you wouldn't otherwise been able to track because you provided Google back the information about that user's email or phone number, and that conversion now can show up in your account. So long story short, when a cookie is not able to be dropped on the browser and the user comes back later on to purchase, the email address or phone number can be used to identify that user inside Google's system to show that a conversion from that user inside your Google Ads account as a secondary way to tie the information loop about user who came to the initial visit to your site from an ad to the eventual purchase that they made somewhere within the first 90 days of that ad click, which is the maximum amount of time Google lets you track or cookie window from the time that somebody clicks on an ad. Whether that be they switch devices, so the cookie was no longer going to work. Cookie only works on one device, or a cookie never was able to be downloaded on the user's device because they're using a browser or device that doesn't allow cookies to be downloaded on that user's browser. The email or phone number can be used to track a conversion back to your ad campaign because Google's got that user's information on file, and you just identified that person through their email or phone number, and cookie-based tracking was not necessary to track the purchase from the initial ad click that occurred up to 90 days in the past. Now that you understand how and why enhanced conversion tracking works, you now should understand, because I'm telling you here, or if it wasn't logical already, that e-commerce businesses are really the only ones that are going to purchase. Technically, you can do and set up enhanced conversion tracking for lead generation campaign. That is, if somebody comes to your landing page from an ad campaign that you're running, fills out a form, later on buys, you could use that user's email address or phone number to trigger a offline conversion. That is, somebody came through and bought from that ad campaign using enhanced conversion tracking methods, email address or phone number itself of that user. That said, it's not going to help you do anything you couldn't do otherwise, because when somebody fills out that form on your site, you could grab their Google Click ID, if you will. You can provide that user Google back that Google Click ID. The Google Click ID, which is like a unique serial number that's tied to every ad click through Google's system, will provide the tie-in of the data loop that you need to track that sale that eventually occurred after the user turned into a lead for you. You didn't need the email address or the phone number, if you will. It becomes irrelevant, if you will. And sometimes Google Click IDs are not available because of something on iOS devices itself and so forth. But if you have CallRail account, you can grab the user's details using your CallRail account. And when that user eventually buys, you can actually plug that revenue generating event into your CallRail account. And then through the CallRail to Google Ads integration, you can still tie that information back to your account about that sale that occurred without you needing enhanced conversion tracking. With that said, to do offline conversion tracking of, where you're tracking sales revenue or the validity of leads, that is, a lead was actually qualified or not, back to your ad campaign, you do not need enhanced conversion tracking to do it, because offline conversion tracking can do the same thing, and or a CallRail integration with your Google Ads account. CallRail can actually track phone calls and form fills. All you got to do is update the value box on your CallRail account, and then Google will get that value of that sale. Or let's say information about whether that lead was qualified or the lead score, so you can use that to steer your ads with, given that information that gets closer to whether profit was made on your ad click will make your ad steering that Google does on their side more accurate than just optimizing for cheap phone calls or the most cheap calls you can get or what have you, which I talk about all the time on this channel. For that matter, on lead generation campaigns, enhanced conversion tracking is also not going to help you if all you're doing is tracking whether a lead is generated, that is a phone call or a form fill. 90% of people are going to either fill out the form or call right away or nothing. Tracking whether somebody leaves and comes back is irrelevant in that particular case. The only thing that you would do is use it to track an offline purchase, which you could technically do if you didn't want to use the Google Click ID to track something that occurred after that person filled out the form or called, but it's not doing anything particularly unique. Unfortunately, Google has not allowed us yet, like you can with Facebook, to simply provide the email address or the phone number of somebody who converts as a way to do conversion tracking, at least not by itself. Google will allow you, if you have the user's email address or phone number collected, when somebody fills out a contact form on your site, and then use the email or phone number to send back them to trigger a goal, like an offline conversion goal. But if you don't collect that data right up front on your landing page, you can't. So in other words, you can't just arbitrarily say this email address converted. You have had to collect that email address on your landing page up front to later provide that email address later on saying this person bought, here's how much they spent. Therefore, have that information show up on my offline conversion goal I have on my Google Ads account. That makes sense. So practically speaking, going full circle on this, the enhanced conversion tracking really is only helping you do anything you couldn't do otherwise. An e-commerce business, okay? And an e-commerce business where you're selling something expensive enough where a person would have to think about it oftentimes before they buy. Anything over $20, $30, there's going to be more than 10% of your users are going to research more before they buy. Most people, in other words, who click your ads that you're driving to your site to get them to buy aren't going to buy on the first visit. Therefore, enhanced conversion tracking is going to help you increase the amount of conversions you get tracked in your ad account, which then goes into helping you steer your ads even better and make more profit from your ads thereof. And the more expensive of whatever it is you sell, the longer the sales cycle window is going to be. That is the average time it takes from the initial ad click to get most, if not all, of your revenue. So the more that enhanced conversion tracking is going to help you increase the amount of conversions you actually successfully get tracked, if you will. As well as, like, if you have a market where most people use an iOS device, it's going to help you a little bit more as well, but which is a small side point. As I mentioned at the start of this video, we've had times where we were able to collect about 10% more conversions once we instituted enhanced conversion tracking on an e-commerce brand. And in an e-commerce brand that sells an item in the hundreds of dollars range, not thousands, not tens, but hundreds. That gives you a general idea of how much extra conversion data that can provide. Now, how much that actually nets you when you get that actually in there, given it is kind of a hassle to set up, how much will that actually increase the profitability of your ad campaign? I'll talk about that, but before I do, I just want to let you know, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you absolutely should, as the information I'm sharing with you on this channel is basically it's the best information you can find, because you're not going to find other people who actually do work on ads 40 hours a week, putting together a YouTube channel or talking about it in the articles that they write. Most of the information you see out there in terms of articles is written by ghostwriters. They're not ad experts. They don't even run ads. Or that you got YouTubers talking about ad strategy. They're selling courses. They ain't running no damn ads themselves. So they run a couple ads. It's all just a fugazi. If you want to know, should I say, you need to know how to run ads successfully from somebody who does it as their full-time job and just focuses on the strategy side of things. This is exactly what I do as my full-time job at our firm. And what I find out what works as well as what doesn't work, I share with you on the weekends, literally speaking, on this channel for you to be able to get the information you need to run campaigns successfully for your own business. And so if you're going to subscribe to anything and learn from anybody, this is the channel you want to subscribe to at the very least first. You should also check out my blog that I have over at my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog itself has actual strategies we're using to guarantee clients results. If you want to know what those are, you can easily find those there as well. Of which, if you have, as a small side, if you also have questions about anything that I talk about here, or if you're stuck on a particular thing with what you're doing that's hampering you from being able to make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, all you got to do is leave me a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to put you on the back on course as best as I can. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. And I do that just as a way of saying thank you, and it helps the channel grow, so I'm happy to do it. You can leave me all the questions you want. If you want to know how much this is actually going to help your business, if you're an e-commerce business, you sell something more than $20 or $30, as I mentioned before, you could get an extra 10% more conversion data in your account, typically 5 to 10% more conversion data in your ad account. However, it's going to provide you a lot more than 5 to 10% more profitability from your ads. Why? Because the sales that it is going to pick up are going to trend to be your bigger sales. Why? Going back to what I said before about sales cycle windows and how the average sales cycle window, that is the time from the initial ad click to the average person buys, is going to be longer the more expensive of whatever it is that you sell. If you sell items that are, let's say, $50, $500, $5,000, The orders that are bigger or the transactions that are bigger, that is people buying bulk, whatever, they're going to skew to longer, that it takes an average longer time for those people to buy. So when you're not using enhanced conversion tracking, one of the ways that you lose conversion data is because people, they may have cookies allowed on their browser and on their device, but they switch devices before they go ahead and purchase, and they're going to switch devices before they purchase at a higher rate when they're buying something of higher ticket size or higher cart value. You're going to get a higher, of those 5-10% extra conversions you pick up with enhanced conversion tracking enabled on your ad account, it's going to be the ones that are the higher ticket sizes, which, so you can see where I'm going with this. If you don't have enhanced conversion tracking on your account's going to actively gun for smaller purchases for your business instead of the bigger ones you actually want that are the most profitable. It's the same thing with, by the way, phone purchases. If you take phone orders, that is, if somebody calls you up and asks a question, they want to put their order through the phone itself physically. That is, you have a virtual terminal where you type in their credit card number over the phone, which you should do, by the way, because a lot of people don't want to put their card information online. Older people still don't. And it's hard for some people to do it because they can't type fast. There's all these different reasons. But what people will do, a lot of times 70% of people don't even have the right conversion tracking on their account to start with. But if they do, they'll just track their cart purchases and they won't track the phone purchases. The phone purchases skew bigger as well. Make a big purchase, you're going to be more likely to call it in first to know who you're dealing with. Along those same lines, the bigger purchases, when you're not uploading to your account the phone orders back to your account, the algorithm that you have trying to get you results with your ads is going to skew to try to go for the smaller sales. And you really hamper the system realizing where all the big whale customers are. So you can skip the enhanced conversion tracking for your e-commerce brand, but it's going to miss the 5% of the data that you should be getting with your account, of which is 10% of your profit. Or if it's going to pick up 10% more conversions, it's going to be 20% of your profit because the bigger sales have bigger profit margin. Obviously, that in and itself should tell you how important this is if you want to squeeze out every last drop of efficiency and profitability from your ad campaigns that you possibly can, okay? If you don't know how to set this up, by the way, this is exactly what we do for clients at our firm. You can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I'd be happy to set everything up for you, of course, for a fee. But along with that, I can tell you, in addition to what results you're getting with your ad right now, we can guarantee a certain lift in your profitability from your ads at the same time. And I can lay out what methods we would use to do that, what you would get short, medium, and long term from it, and so forth. All you got to do is reach out to me at my site at guaranteedppc.com and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about it. Beyond that, we also sell ad templates. I've been bringing it up practically on every video now. We've worked in over 200 niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this agency at Guaranteed PPC. If we've worked in your niche market before, you could take the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that already work for us for a client in a different geographic area than you're in. Copy paste those results into your ad account and get the same results we're getting with none of the work, time, and money it took us to figure out how to get to those results in your niche market in a different geographic area. There's no reason whatsoever you could possibly tell me that using our template would be too expensive or not to your best interest versus figuring out all the stuff we had to figure out to get to those results. There's just no way you could justify it. The only way it would be justifiable for you not to buy our template, if we've already got the results in your market before, is if the results that we're going to get you are not as good as the results you already have, of which we can tell you the results you're going to get with the template before you ever purchased it from us. So that's not even of concern. If that's your concern, you should at least reach out to us and see if we've gotten the results you're looking for or gotten better results than you're looking for. And if so, buy the darn template from us because you'll do yourself a huge favor for doing that. We've got people using these templates, by the way, to start whole other businesses from scratch. It's literally like a business in a box. We got people that have sold commodity products, technically anybody could get from China, and take the template we have to sell it in a country our client is not in, have a turnkey business effectively with that. You want to sell printer toner? Sell it in a country that our client isn't in. Get the toner, sell it, turnkey business, literally speaking. And I know that sounds kind of tacky, but it literally is what it is. We know we can get an XYZ ROI of 900% selling toner in country A. You damn well should be able to get a 900% ROI selling it in country B, as long as the website's just as good as theirs. I mean, it doesn't get any more sure. If you want a sure bet that a business would work, it doesn't get any more sure than that. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I want to say that the enhanced conversion tracking, while it's important, it's not as important as setting up a good base of operations, setting up the base campaigns that you want, setting up revenue tracking on your account, setting up offline conversion tracking so that offline sales get into your account. Once you've done all that, that's the time that enhanced conversion tracking should come as like icing on the cake, if you will. It will get you a little bit extra results over time. It's not going to be everything. And if you didn't do all the rest of the stuff I mentioned, you're going to have a hard time making money anyway. But it is something that you should invest in eventually down the road that's going to help you make an extra 20% more profitability like it did for multiple of the companies that we have dealt with already, because we could actually see with the conversion data before and after doing this, a year after, a year before. So, and with that, I'm going to give you a particular case study where we did this. We had a surf shop, sold surfing supplies and that kind of thing, wakeboarding supplies also as well. We instituted an enhanced conversion tracking itself with this particular company. Whereas we only got around 6% more conversion data tracked with this particular company with products about it, or at that price point, which we're not talking about thousands of dollars for these products. A lot of them are just $50, so on and so forth. Like I said, the more expensive the ticket size of product that you have, the more you're going to benefit from this added conversion data that enhanced conversion tracking brings. But with that, the next year following, now normally we're going to get a lift in profitability from our ads anyway, year over year, just because more data means more ability for Google's ad system to get more sales at the ROI that we want itself. But we were getting about 20% more year over year growth. That was the typical average that we got for the last 3 years. That is the year 5, 6, and 7 being with this particular client that I'm mentioning here. The year after we added the enhanced conversion tracking, just to give you an idea, we had roughly 35% more year over year growth. Now, how much or what percentage of that was contributed to the extra 6% or roughly thereof added conversion data? I don't exactly know. It's a little bit hard for me to say that we got 15% increase in profitability from adding the 6% more conversion data, but it goes along with what I said earlier. You're getting the extra 6% valuable because it tells you where the bigger customers are coming from proportionally, or the bigger customers are normally going to be buying later on with greater lengths of time from the time that they click on the ads. Therefore, the system's going to now start picking up bigger customers that we really want that are more profitable, better and easier than we were before, instead of optimizing for the smaller customers. Because if you think about it, it makes sense. 10% of the customers it doesn't see, and they're the biggest customers. Naturally, instead of optimizing for the biggest customers, it's going to literally optimize against it. It's going to be worse than nothing, if you will. Because at least if you had no conversion data, it would optimize for big and small. If you don't track the big customers, it's actually going to optimize for small and avoid the big. It's worse than nothing. Anyway, that's the one case study I wanted to give you. Again, don't do enhanced conversion tracking all the time. E-commerce businesses that sell a little bit more expensive product. Once we get offline conversion tracking set up, we add that as a final piece. It's a final piece that will typically get you the return that you want. And it's not a matter of if you will make more money from it, but it's just a matter of how much. So therefore you want to do it. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said enhanced conversion tracking was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.